Okay, ladies, hello to Monday, public holiday for some, not all. Hope you're doing well. So today we're talking about having a conversation not enough people are having. If you've ever found yourself lying in bed thinking, I love my husband, so why don't I want to have sex? Right? Then tonight's conversation is for you. Because one of the biggest myths around about midlife is that low libido means something's wrong with your relationship or something is wrong with you. And neither is necessarily true. It is very hard to feel desire in a body that doesn't feel safe, rested, supported, comfortable. Because libido isn't just about hormones. It's about your whole life. What I hear from women is, I have nothing left. By the time they get to bed, what has already happened in their day? Maybe worked a full day, looked after everybody else, carried the mental load, organized the household, worried about aging parents, worried about finances, worried about children, and then they climb into bed feeling exhausted, not excited, exhausted. Some women tell me they stay up later than their partner, just hoping that he'll be asleep by the time they get to bed. Some go to bed and just keep scrolling on their phone. Some find jobs to do around the house. Some, go to bed and fake being asleep. Some not because they don't love their partner, but not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to explain what has changed. And often they don't understand it themselves. This has a really big emotional impact. This can be one of the loneliest symptoms of midlife because women often carry guilt. They worry, what's wrong with me? Will I ever feel normal again? Am I letting my partner down? And underneath that can be fear. Fear that this is permanent. Fear that something important has been lost. Fear that they don't feel like themselves anymore. What it actually is, one of the reasons why that low libido is so confusing is because people talk about it as if it's one thing. It's not. I explain it as biology, body, brain, and bond. 4 layers that overlap. Hormones matter. The body matters. The nervous system matters. The relationship matters. And in midlife, all 4 can be changing at the same time. So the body layer. Last week we spoke about GSM, the genitourinary syndrome of menopause, the tissue changes that happened when estrogen declines, the dryness, the burning, the irritation, the pain, the discomfort. And here's what nobody tells women. When your body expects discomfort, your brain stops anticipating pleasure. That isn't dysfunction. That's precaution. That's protection. It's very hard to want more of something that hurts or simply doesn't bring any pleasure anymore. Then there's the hormone layer. Of course, hormones play a role. Estrogen affects lubrication and comfort. Progesterone affects your sleep, and it's also a calming hormone. Testosterone contributes to desire and vitality. But hormones are only part of the picture. Because if hormones were the whole answer, every woman on HRT would have a fantastic libido. And we know that's not what happens. Then we have the nervous system layer. This is the one that I think gets missed most often. Many women spend the day in go mode, giving, managing, organizing, solving problems, looking after everyone else, then they expect themselves to suddenly switch into desire, like as if it's a switch that you can turn on and off. But your nervous system doesn't work that way. Your nervous system cannot slam from fight or flight, right? Got to get this done, got to get that done, got to keep up with everything, to softness and receptivity in 30 seconds, just because the bedroom door closes. Women don't need another thing on their to-do list. The nervous system often needs an opportunity to exhale. Then there's the relationship layer, right? The relationship itself, feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling understood, feeling emotionally connected, feeling safe enough to be honest about what's happening. Because intimacy starts long before bedtime. And communication matters. Many couples are having completely different conversations in their own heads and never sharing them with each other. So what I see over and over again are women blaming themselves for something that actually makes perfect sense. Women who aren't sleeping, who are stressed, who are uncomfortable in their body, have gained weight, have some of those GSM symptoms that we spoke about last week, feel exhausted, and then wonder why desire has disappeared. These women aren't broken, they're depleted. And there's a big, big difference. When I ask women on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your desire? Where's your libido? And some women will say 0, some will say -10. Right? There's a big gap. So what can you do? What's starting points, right? 3 starting points. Stop making this a character flaw. Low libido is often information, not failure. Address any physical discomfort. That has to be one of the first. So when I speak to women and they say they have no desire or low libido, the first thing I always ask, do you experience pain? Because if there's physical pain, that has to be where you start. You have to get it checked that there's no fibroids, if there's tissue tearing, all those things. That's a first step. All of you, anyone that has discomfort. The second thing is, if you've cleared that, okay, there might not be discomfort. Is there any sensation? Is there any feeling? Another one is, how do you feel about your relationship? Another one is, are you having night sweats? Because some women, they're withdrawing from their partner even touching them, because it just sets off that inferno in them. So you've got to look at the root cause, right? And if you are exhausted, if there is no connection, that's a different story. If it's your body image, if it's your self-confidence, like, that's a different story. So you've really got to look at the why, and work on that story. Support the foundations: sleep, stress, nervous system regulation, connection, because libido often improves when the whole system improves. And I can't emphasize that enough. I know when women start to work, hi Di, when people start to work with me and they have a list of symptoms, and then what we have to do together is work out and prioritize those things, because there's always a domino effect as well. And the domino effect can be, if you just think about it, all right? Those of you who are here or listening to the replay, if you think that your libido is low because of, let's just say, being overweight and having that belly weight, or is it joint pain, or is it fatigue? Imagine if you started feeling more confident in your body. Okay. If you started sleeping through the night, waking up feeling refreshed, getting some exercise done during the day, so you're feeling a little bit more of the endorphins. If you, hi Carmel, getting that endorphin release, getting some sunshine and some serotonin, and then you actually had a relaxed conversation with your partner over dinner, right? Not rushed, not whilst there's kids there or whatever. You're going to, and you're feeling better about yourself. The bedroom's going to look a lot different to if you haven't got out, haven't moved out in the sunshine, haven't moved your body, feeling joints tight and inflamed. You got the night sweats and hot flushes where you don't want to be touched. You haven't had a good conversation with your partner. It's been rushed or snappy. They're two different things. So it's not just hormones. And what happens is, if you don't look at that what your story is, and you don't start to make some changes, isn't that the desire can get less and less. The story you're telling yourself can get bigger and bigger. But as you withdraw more and more, the silence grows, misunderstanding grows, distance grows, blame starts. Women slowly convince themselves this is just what happens. I don't believe that. I believe women deserve to understand what's happening in their body, because understanding creates options, and options create hope. So I'd love to know, everyone that's here now or replay later, I'd love to know, what do you think impacts women's libido most in midlife? Do you think it's hormones? Do you think it's exhaustion? Do you think it's stress? Do you think it's body image? Do you think it's relationships dynamics? Or simply feeling disconnected from yourself? I remember talking to one lady years ago that worked with me, and I said to her, and libido was one of her issues, and she said, we went through no physical problems, no pain, things like that. I said, well, how do you feel about your partner? And she said, well, when I sit across the table from him at dinner time, I feel like stabbing him in the eye with my fork. I'm like, I don't think testosterone is going to fix that. I don't think even you're losing that 10 kilo that you want to lose is going to fix that. And I might not be the person to help you with that. You might need a marriage counselor. So you've got to look at your story, ladies. So I want to know, has your relationship with intimacy changed in midlife? And did anyone ever explain why? Let me know in the comments. Who has been just waiting for your libido to find you again, and wonder if it ever would? Have you found yourself avoiding intimacy because it feels easier than explaining how you feel? Just let me know in the comments. If you feel it's easier just to ignore it, say yes. I want to know where everyone's at. And as you know, this week, I'll be talking about it more. These lives I try to keep between 10 and 15 minutes. But there'll be some posts coming up, some more about the ifs, buts, and maybes, and the whys and the wherefores. And then on Friday, I'll talk about how it actually has been impacting too many women. But I'd love to know if this is hitting a chord and what questions you might have about it. All right, ladies, and I'll see all of you lovely members of my Graceful Transitions at 7 o'clock in the group for your coaching call on progress over perfection. All right, ladies, hope you found this a little bit of interest, that you're thinking beyond hormones. that there's a lot more to the story.